All right, so in this problem, you have three different functions that first of all, you're dealing with. So you have f of x, which is this quadratic function, so it's equal to 3x squared minus 3x plus 5. G of x is this linear function, 6x minus 5, and h of x is this linear function, 3x plus 2. And what you want to do in the first one is you want to find, now notice the notation looks like this, so it's f plus g evaluated at 2. That's what that means. Be careful, this right here does not mean multiplication. So some students want to say this. They want to multiply f by 2 and g by 2. So when they look at this, they say, well, I'm going to multiply every term by 2. And then I'm going to take g and multiply every term by 2. That's not what this means. So don't think of this as a distributive property. That's not what that is. That does not read as f plus g times 2. That's not multiplication here. So understanding the notation involved in the problem is important. Okay? So this right here involves the idea of the algebra of functions. So by definition, what this right here means is this. It means f of 2 plus g of 2. That's what this is. Now, again, this does not read f times 2. That does not read g times 2. That does not mean I go to my function f and I multiply everything by 2. That's not what that means. That is not the distributive property. Okay? All right, so make sure you understand mathematical notation. All right, so at this point, now what you would need to do next, because you have to show the work, and so the work's going to be this. So you're going to find f of 2 first. So f of 2, remember, to find f of 2, that means, now remember, this does not read f times 2. That reads f of 2, and that of here does not mean multiplication. So what this means is you're going to go to, remember, this, I'm going to write it as this. So in place of x, you're going to substitute 2. So where we see x and the function f, so here's my function f, where we see x, you're going to substitute 2. So f of 2 becomes 3 times 2 squared minus 2 times 2 plus 5. And then using the order of operations, remember you have to do the exponents before you multiply. So don't say 3 times 2 is 6 and then say 6 squared. That's mathematically not correct. So you got to say 2 squared is 4, so this becomes 3 times 4. And then negative 2 times 2 is a negative 4, and then plus 5. And so this becomes 12 minus 4 plus 5. 12 minus 4 is 8, and 8 plus 5 is going to be 13. So that's f of 2. So this right here is going to be 13. Then we're going to add some number to 13, and that's going to be g of 2. So let's figure out what g of 2 is. So g of 2, same thing. You're going to go to your function g, and where we see that variable x, you're going to substitute 2. So this becomes 6 times 2 minus 5. So where we see the variable x, you substitute 2. So this becomes 12 minus 5, which is going to be 7. So we get 13 plus 7, so g of 2 is 7. So now we get 13 plus 7, which is 20. So therefore your answer, you're going to say f plus g evaluated at 2 is going to be 20. So that's number 1. Number 2, you have this. You have g minus h evaluated at negative 3. Same idea. You're going to use that notation. So remember, this does not mean multiplication. So don't think, hey, I'm going to multiply everything by negative 3. That's not what that means. So by the algebra of functions, what that means is this. That means g of negative 3 minus h of negative 3. Okay? So now I'm going to find g of negative 3. Then we're going to find h of negative 3. So let's do the work. So you have to show the work. So here's your work, g of negative 3. So you can go to your function g, which is this right here. And where we see the variable x, you're going to substitute negative 3. So that becomes 6 times negative 3 minus 5. So 6 times negative 3 is a negative 18, and a negative 18 and a negative 5 is a negative 23. So g of negative 3 is going to be a negative 23. And then I'm going to subtract from negative 23 whatever h of negative 3 is. Let's figure out what h of negative 3 is. So to find h of negative 3, I go to my function h, and where we see that variable x, I substitute negative 3. So this becomes 3 times negative 3 plus 2. So that's negative 9 plus 2, which is negative 7. So then h of negative 3 becomes negative 7. Now what I see here is this. So negative 23 subtract a negative 7 means negative 23 plus the opposite of a negative 7, which is a positive 7. And then negative 23 plus 7 is going to equal a negative 16. And so therefore your answer, you're going to say g minus h at negative 3 equals a negative 16. Number 3. Number 3, you have f minus h at 1. F minus h at 1. Again, by definition, this means f of 1 minus h of 1. So then we got to figure out what f of 1 is, we're going to figure out what h of 1 is, and then we're going to subtract those. So let's figure out what f of 1 is. So f of 1, so to find f of 1, you go to your function f. So here's my function f. I'm going to go ahead and rewrite it here. You get 3x squared minus 2x plus 5. So wherever you see the variable x, I'm going to substitute 1. So this becomes 3 times 1 squared minus 2 times 1 plus 5. And so then 1 squared is 1. 1 times 3 is 3. So this becomes 3 minus 2 plus 5. 3 subtract 2 is 1. 1 plus 5 is 6. So f of 1 is going to be 6. Then we figure out what h of 1 is. So h of 1. So h of x is this. So h of x is 3x plus 2. So that was this one up here, 3x plus 2. And so wherever you see the variable x, I'm going to substitute 1. So I get 3 times 1 plus 2. 3 times 1 is 3, and 3 plus 2 is 5. So I get 6 subtract 5, which is 1. So your answer, you're going to say f subtract h at 1 is going to equal 1. So that was number 3. Okay, then in number 4, we have this, and go ahead and put that here. So number 4, we want to find f times closed circle. Remember, closed circle means multiplication. Open circle would mean composition. Two different concepts. So f times g at negative 2. So by definition, that means f of negative 2 times g of negative 2. So to find f of negative 2, I go to my function f, and wherever we see the variable x, I substitute negative 2. So we're going to find f of negative 2, then we're going to find g of negative 2, and I'm going to multiply those together. So f of negative 2 will equal, so again, you go to your function f, where we see the variable x, you substitute negative 2. So that's 3 times negative 2 squared minus 2 times negative 2 plus 5. Order of operation, you have to do the exponents first. Negative 2 times itself is 4. So this is 3 times 4. Negative 2 times negative 2 is a positive 4, and then plus 5. 3 times 4 is 12, so I get 12 plus 4 plus 5. 12 plus 4 is 16, and then 16 plus 5 is going to be 21. So f of negative 2 is 21. Then you find g of negative 2. So g of negative 2, you go to your function g, and where we see the variable x, substitute negative 2. So that's going to be 6 times negative 2 minus 5. Well, 6 times negative 2 is a negative 12, and a negative 12 and a negative 5 is a negative 17. So what I have here is 21 times a negative 17. And using your calculator, 21 times a negative 17 is going to equal a negative 357. And so therefore your answer, you're going to say f times g at negative 2 is going to equal a negative 357. 57. And then finally, number 5, the very last problem, you want to find f divided by g evaluated at 3. So again, this would not be multiplication. So by definition, though, this means f of 3 divided by g of 3. That's what that means. So I'm going to figure out what f of 3 is, then I'm going to figure out what g of 3 is. So f of 3, to find f of 3, you're going to go to your function f. So I'm going to just go ahead and rewrite this over. So your function f is 3x squared minus 2x plus 5. So we see the variable x, you're going to substitute 3. So this becomes 3 times 3 squared minus 2 times 3 plus 5. Order of operations, so you got to do exponents before you multiply. 3 times itself, 3 times 3 is 9. So this becomes 3 times 9 minus 6 plus 5. 3 times 9 is 27, so I get 27 minus 6 plus 5. 27 subtract 6 is 21. 21 plus 5 is 26. So that's 26. That's your numerator. Now we find g of 3. So g of 3, first of all, g of x is 6x minus 5. So wherever you see the function, wherever you see the variable x, I'm going to substitute 3. So I get 6 times 3 minus 5. 6 times 3 is 18, and then 18 subtract 5 is going to be 13. And so therefore g of 3 is 13. So that becomes 26 divided by 13, which reduces to 2. So the answer is 2. So therefore you're going to say answer, f divided by g evaluated at 3 is equal to 2. And so that's it. So that's how you deal with this type of notation. So we call that the algebra of functions. So you're adding two functions, evaluating at a variable. You're subtracting two functions, evaluating at a variable. Evaluating at a number. You're, same thing here, subtracting two functions, evaluating at a number, multiplying, and then dividing. All right, so that is the solutions to this set of problems.